Welcome to the 22nd round of WTSS Season 7. We've made it overseas. The United States and North America is over. The final 9 races of the calendar span across 6 different countries. And we begin with the return to WTSS in Africa. South Africa, to be exact, at the Phakisa Freeway Speedway. Our first venture to this continent since Season 1, when we took to the road course in Kyalami. DJ Curtis put it on pole with an absolutely astounding lap, looking for redemption for the first time since Lime Rock, when he absolutely coulda, shoulda, woulda won that race if it weren't for a pit road collision late in the going. Championship leader Ryan Reid finds himself in 26th place, and with a 35-point lead, he has a bit of a buffer, but he doesn't want to lose that entire buffer in one race. Title contenders Yuki Tamura, Chris Louviere, Sean Angel, Mitchell Mark have all found themselves in the top 15 in qualifying, looking to pounce on an eager battle for the championship with just 9 races left to complete. Nothing left but speedways and road courses throughout, no more short tracks. Here we are in Africa, 100 laps at Phakisa Freeway. Let's get to the start. Pace car pulls in. DJ Curtis and Kyle Bashelia, last race winner, on the front row for 100 laps around this low-banked, high-speed, 1.5-mile racetrack in South Africa. We're green, and DJ Curtis gets a pretty even jump with Kyle Bashelia on the run down to turn number 1. Season 2 champ Hu Jian peeks to the inside for the lead into the first corner. Side by side for the lead, nearly 3 wide. Bashelia has to back out of it. Curtis maintains the point as we exit turn number 2 for the first time today. 3 wide in the back. I see that 2 rows deep. One of them has championship leader Ryan Reid in the middle of it on the high side. As we exit turn number 4, 3 by 3 on the exit. It gets tight as they squeeze up the racetrack with Carter and Stavinaugh down there on the bottom. Nearly 4 wide with Brandon Crasta peaking low but thinking better of it into the first corner. And the series veteran knows better than to make that move. Ben Yako to the bottom, 3 wide on championship contender Mitchell Mark. As we exit turn number 2 for the second time today with Hu Jian hot in tow behind the 54 of Curtis, and that's contact between Mitchell Mark and Yuki Tamura twice now into turn number 3, but they keep it all on the racetrack and all in one piece as we exit the 4th corner for the second time. And Hu Jian's for the lead on DJ Curtis. Inside move into turn number 1. Who's gonna come out on top? Outside lane has the better exit speed. And Curtis will maintain the point for now, but Hu Jian is not letting him live it down as he gets down into turn 3, chopping off the 49 just in time. 3 wide exiting turn 4. Benyako with help from his pseudo teammate Patrick Smith as Kyle Bashelia pays the biggest price of them all into 1. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr., fresh race winner in the WTSS for the first time just a couple weeks ago. With help from Chris Louviere on the bottom lane. Hu Jian, after 1 attempt at the lead, is going to fall outside of the top 3 within a lap and a half of that challenge for the lead. And Roberto Crown Jr. has got massive speed off of turn number 4, peeks to the inside on DJ Curtis, but thinks better of it as they run down to the first corner. Now Chris Louviere and Mark Nutt peek into the inside 3 wide for second place. And every time somebody thinks that they can challenge DJ Curtis for the point, somebody else challenges the one who's trying to chase them down. Crown Jr., though, holds off the challenge, gets an incredible run through 3 and 4 once again. That 46 car looks hooked up in the corners, and this time he's going to take his challenge for the lead. But once again, as we hit the straightaway, Curtis's car flies away from the nose of that 46, like they've got some sort of downforce trimming on that 54 to keep him in speed down the straightaway. Off of turn number 2 we go. Crown Jr., Curtis, Mark Nutt, reigning champion, peeks down the inside for second place. Here comes Alex Benyako in the 29. Mark Nutt gets underneath the 54 before they even get off of turn number 4. Undeniable challenge for the lead now. Nutt trying to nose ahead into turn number 1 to get an advantage. Can he clear before the corner exit? Curtis digs deep and hangs on. Side by side into turn number 3. New leader at Phakisa Freeway, Mark Nutt, the reigning champion in the 57. And for the first time all season, the reigning champ finally seems like he's got a car that can contend for the race victory, as he's out front here with 7 laps complete of the 100 scheduled.
Yeah, still got a while to go.
Indeed that. Alex Bignacco in the 29, looking to challenge as well. He's been kind of on the sidelines all season, with his pseudo teammate Kyle Bichelia and his actual teammate Daniel Giroux challenging. Big move. Oh man. Patrick Smith unable to get underneath. Daniel Giroux, like I was saying, with multiple victories this season. Bignacco has a pole position at Talladega, but that's really been the high point of his season. And I see a bright green number 58 of Sean Angel on the prowl, up into the top 10 now. Trying to go after pole sitter DJ Curtis for 7th place, but trying to keep back Fabio Vitabassa in the 0-2 for the 8th position. It's a tight, delicate balance depending on what line you pick, whether or not you're on defense or offense, and whether or not you can make that line work. And Patrick Smith takes 2nd away from Alex Bignacco. Now setting his sights after Mark Nutt. Patrick Smith felt like he absolutely should have won Indianapolis. He had the car to beat all day until a poor adjustment in the final pit stop made that car not the best car on the racetrack any longer. And now he sets his sights after Mark Nutt for the lead. But the question being, once he gets there, does he have the car to pass him? Mark Nutt still leading off a turn 4 with a bigger advantage over Patrick Smith now. And now, the gap's starting to grow a bit out front. Let's check in on some of our championship contenders coming into Phakisa Freeway. 5 drivers within a race worth of Ryan Reid that could stand on top of the championship given the right circumstances. One of those being Chris Louviere in the 83, who has really come alive as the season has progressed and has been unmissable on these big speedways inside of the top 10. He's running up in the 3rd position. As we have a challenge for the lead, just as I was about to start giving a field rundown of our title contenders. Patrick Smith has found something. Maybe he was cooling his tires off to make a charge at the lead, but whatever it was, he's peeking to the inside of the 57 of Mark Nutt. He's trying to nose ahead on the entry to turn 3. The challenge for the lead is real, and through 3 and 4, Patrick Smith nearly clears on the exit of turn 4. Give the lead to the 77. Patrick Smith leads at Phakisa Freeway at the end of lap 13. Now the question is, does Mark Nutt have a response in him? And how hard of a response will he give if he does? Down the back straightaway. He's following closely behind the 77, but not able to pull right up to the back of him like Smith did until they get to the middle of 3 and 4, in which he makes an immense push through the corner, right up to the back of the 77 once again. Will we go back for the lead into 1? Yes, we will. Mark Nutt, inside move on Patrick Smith. Side by side through the corner. All they're doing is slowing themselves down as Chris Louviere approaches fast. Roberto Crown Jr. has not left this battle. And big commitment from Mark Nutt to stay alongside Patrick Smith on the entry to turn 3. That might be crucial to him staying alongside through the front straightaway, but he loses enough momentum from sending it that deep on entry. Smith continues to lead as we head back to turn number 1 with a 5-car breakaway out front at Phakisa Freeway. Oh, and just when you think you can look away, Mark Nutt pulls right back up to the back of the 77. Down the back straightaway. Will he peek into turn 3? Yes, he will. charging alongside this time. Smith finds so much middle corner speed though. He's able to maintain the speed on the exit as well. But Mark Nutt is unable to find a way through, but he does not make sure that the 77 cannot clear him down the front straightaway. But through the outside of 1 and 2, Patrick Smith maintains the point still, as we're going to be side by side for second with Chris Louviere in the 83. Going to the outside of Mark Nutt now, but Alex Bignacco challenges Louviere, so if this 83 does not complete this move, it might be trouble town for the 57 of Mark Nutt. Front straightaway, Nutt closes back in on Smith. Bignacco using the draft from the 57 to pull ahead of Louviere into turn 1. Will it be successful? Crown Jr. peeks underneath the 83 now. Exit of turn 2. Smith still with the lead. Nearly 3 seconds back to 6th on back, and it's mostly caused by DJ Curtis having a straightaway speed rocket ship. We were talking about title contenders, where they're at in relation to the field right now. I can give you a rundown briefly without showing the cars because we've got too much of a lead battle to focus on. Louviere in 5th, comes into this race 5th in the championship, within range of striking distance of Ryan Reid. Sean Angel, while charging up to the top 10, has fallen back to 18th now. Still ahead of title leader Ryan Reid as Mark Nutt pulls right back up to the back of the 77. Peaks low on the front straightaway. Smith clears again down the front straight into turn 1. Nutt is unable to make a charge into the first corner. The 77 maintains for now. Meanwhile, you look down the running order. Mitchell Mark is only mustered 21st. Yuki Tamura has only managed 22nd. Alex Constantine, one of your championship dark horses, finds himself 12th. This could be a good points day to get himself closer to the range of Ryan Reid as Mark Nutt shuffles the 77 off the bottom through the tri-oval into turn 1 with a big run. Bignacco peeks to the middle, almost clips the right rear of the 57 of Mark Nutt. Swings up the racetrack to dodge the right rear quarter panel. Gives up the chance to go for the lead through the middle 3. And now, we have a 4-way fight for the lead as Roberto Crown Jr. has gone underneath the 29. That could have been disaster. If that 29 had clipped the 57, we could have seen the entire top 3 get swept up in an accident there. Where is title leader Ryan Reid? He's 31st. 31st place, the first bad race of the season we've seen all year. 33rd now, the scoring is showing for the championship leader. This would be a huge opportunity for all these drivers. And that is within a window of opportunity. If Chris Louviere won this race, he could be the point leader from 5th. Jeff McLennan is second to last for Maverick. They have got to get that sorted out. Being 3rd in points coming into this race, that could be a seriously damaging blow to their season if he's unable to salvage anything past that point. Jeffrey Finguy and William Duncan have shuffled the 54 of DJ Curtis off the bottom and are now chasing the leaders with quite some pace right now. But Patrick Smith leading the brigade out front, the 5-car breakaway. And he's really putting a good stride out front of Mark Nutt now. Nearly half a second. And breathe. The battle for the lead is finally concluded for the time being. Patrick Smith, the leader, still here at Phakisa Freeway, but for how much longer? Can he stretch the lead out by a little bit more every single lap? We'll just have to wait and see. Or maybe Mark Nutt is just saving his tires currently. We're now on the 25th lap of this race. We will finish the first quarter at the end of this lap with Patrick Smith, the leader, by half a second nearly over Mark Nutt. So we run back down the order. Curtis really struggling on this long run. Not only have Finguy and Duncan gotten past him, but he's fallen back into the clutches of Bobby Frazier, Mitchell Carter, Ryan Bolden, Alex Constantine. They all continue to just pelt past that 54 car, just repeatedly shuffling him up to the top. And the pole sitter's car looked fast on one lap speed, but in terms of overall long runs pace, that 54 car is dropping and dropping fast. Mark Nutt has closed back in on the 77. Down the front straightaway we go. And you almost have to wonder if Maverick was just trying to play it safe with some of their cars and didn't go for radical setup changes on some of their cars like a Jeff McLennan. And maybe they went the wrong direction. Maybe the right direction was to take some swings. Their Speedway program has not been very great this season, and maybe a radical swing on the setup was what was needed to put that car in the right direction. With him running in 37th, it's only 6 points, 5 points to his name right now, and it could really be a seriously damaging blow to his chances at making a charge at this championship. But with Ryan Reid all the way back in 31st right now, or in 30th, it's not going to be as big of a blow as you'd think, really. I mean, at least for catching Ryan Reid's sake, but in terms of the others around you that are trying to catch Ryan Reid, that is a really damaging run for the 87. Other championship dark horses that really should be using this race to make up points on him are not capitalizing. Look at Kyle Bisceglia. He was up in the top 10. He started on the front row. Both of our front row sitters struggling massively. He looked like he had some strong pace at the start, but it's just gone. Mitchell Mark has really found nothing either. He's stagnated in the midfield. Hu Ji-yeon is 22nd. We're really seeing a game of ups and downs between some of the field here. Bobby Frazier looks extremely fast. Your Iowa winner on the charge, chasing 6th place from Jeffrey Finguy. But it's Patrick Smith just controlling the field out front, reminiscent of the race at Indianapolis we had, where he just had the field on lock for the longest time. And the 98, Allison Figueroa reporting fuel pressure problems. Possibly a plug up in one of the fuel lines, I'm not sure. But she says the fuel system, something is not right, and they're going to call her to the pits this time, which will throw her completely off cycle with the rest of the field, and I think will barely put her within a window to even make it to the end on fuel. So this is a strategical nightmare from the Reid family racing team, and it looks like they're trying to let her stay out there. I don't know if that's the smartest move, because if you've got trouble getting fueled through the fuel lines, then you're going to have a really hard time finding straightaway speed. And on a 1.5 miles, that is going to be extremely difficult to make up later on, even with fresher tires. You can see she's got a good car through the mid-corners, but the moment she gets off the exits, no straight line speed from that 98, and I think she missed her opportunity that last lap to make it into the pits. She might not get another one for the next few laps if she's stuck on the top, getting absolutely shuffled past by healthier cars. Louviere has almost fallen off the back of the leaders now, as Benyako, Crown, and Mark Nutt are just getting strung out by how fast that 77 is. Nobody is matching the lap times on that car. Absolutely no one. There's a few that are getting really close, but none of them are pulling 32.68s. Mark Nutt has been backing off and pushing over and over again to try and get closer with better tires, better temperature tires, but right there, only a 10th gained, even on one of those push laps. It's hot out here in South Africa. It's dry out here. And most crucially, it's a fresh racetrack surface. These tires are screaming in pain. There's no rubber buildup inside of the asphalt to protect them at all. It's just an absolute slog out here on a low banking 1.5 mile speedway. Mark Nutt is making some serious inroads, though. He might finally have a chance to go back for the lead on Patrick Smith. Or is he going to run out of steam just as he gets there? We'll have to find out shortly, as we've just passed the 1/3 mark of this race now. We're probably another 20 laps away or so from our pit cycle that we'll see later on. So this is this is the struggle town for some of these teams, where it's going to be a point in which if you used up too much of your stuff, it's too late. You can't go back and salvage it. You're going to be struggling on your tires until the pit cycle. And there's people that have treated their tires better, that this is where they're going to benefit, this 20 lap stretch at the end of the run, where everybody's trying to make something happen, trying to make something work. Figueroa has still not found an opening on the bottom to get down, and it's turning into an absolute nightmare for the Reid family racing team. And it's not known whether or not it's just them choosing to stay out and minimize the damage, or if she's actually trying to get down to the pits and can't because of all the cars steaming past her on every straightaway. But we won't know until she gets a chance through 3 and 4, and that may be a while until that comes. Elijah Innes has completely fallen off the back of the field, and a just tumultuous rookie season for the number 1 car has just continued on, and this is not the first time we've seen him fall off the back of the field. So that absolutely just the troubles of coming in with a brand new team and a brand new driver, just sometimes you just get it wrong. We've seen people get it right with guys like Alex Constantine, but sometimes you just get it wrong. And there's really nothing you can do about it. It's like throwing darts blindfolded, trying to figure out what the right move is when you're coming into a series you've never driven in and have never ran a team in either. Smith the leader as we're approaching the 40th lap of this event. Mark Nutt still keeping it very close, not letting Smith back off at all. But meanwhile, Roberto Crown Jr. is actually breathing down the necks of these guys now and is really starting to make an inroad on these guys. Benyako and Louviere have not been able to make any forward progress. Roberto Crown Jr. is making forward progress, and Fingai Saitomi's turn of pace over the last few weeks has been astonishing. The rookie and veteran on the team, keeping it incredibly competitive. All of the tracks we've been on the last few weeks. Bristol was a struggle a bit, but the rest of the speedways have been absolutely impeccable. Mark Nutt's got a chance here. Off of turn 2. Big run on Patrick Smith. Peeks to the inside into turn 3 for the lead on lap 39. Huge send. Hugs the inside lane. And Mark Nutt clears Patrick Smith on the exit at turn 4 to take the lead back finally from the 77 car. Now, how long will he be able to keep that advantage, and how long will it be till Patrick Smith tries to respond and make a move back? And will Roberto Crown Jr. have something to say about that? Mark Nutt, now the leader, but now is his chance to prove whether or not he's got a car that's capable of leading this field, or whether or not he's going to be constantly challenged by those behind. And I think Patrick Smith has found a weakness already in that 57. Back down the inside into turn number 1 on the 41st lap of this event with 60 laps to go. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. as well, approaching the exit of turn number 2, side by side between Smith and Mark Nutt, down the back straight. The E3 Spark Plugs machine peeking back ahead into turn number 3, trying to clear the 57 before they even get to mid-corner, and he's going to do so. Smith takes the lead back. Now Crown Jr.'s in the mix again. Unable to stay alongside Mark Nutt, but in the mix nonetheless. And they're still pulling away from the Benyako and Louviere cars, all the meanwhile that they're fighting. But people that are gaining right now are guys like Fingai and Frazier, making up time on these battles as they continue to fight. Mark Nutt charges the corner mid-turn. Will he be able to find the exit speed, though, after such a hard entry? He barely maintains it, but it's not as good as Smith. Crown Jr. has kind of simmered back a bit. Almost wonder if he pushed for the lead so hard there that maybe he overheated his tires, but these two are just intertwined in an everlasting battle for the lead here. Nutt back down the inside into turn 3, back for the lead. Patrick Smith with an amazing mid-corner charge. Hangs onto it around the outside with massive mid-corner speed. And carries that speed to the exit to keep the lead for now. That's been his favorite defense all race against Mark Nutt. Is that charge around the outside, mid-corner. He's done it so many times already this race. But Mark Nutt is anything but a driver who's willing to give up. Tenacity is his middle name. We saw it last season, that never give up in him, that brought him to his first series championship. And yes, it's been a rough season for him, for his standards, and for Hamilton Autosports' standards nonetheless. But being top 15 in points does not mean you're out of it. Even with 9 races to go, he can still see that championship trophy with his name on it for a second time if he just believes hard enough. And off at turn number 2, Mark Nutt peaks down low on Patrick Smith again. Will he charge into turn 3 on the 77? Not close enough with enough of a width to get down there. But I think he sees out his windshield, the carrot on the stick in front of him, but a real threat behind from Roberto Crown Jr. in the mirror that is really raising the sense of urgency on that 57. And would you believe it that 6 laps ago, these two had swapped the lead again. This battle just continues and continues to give and give as these drivers take more and more out of each other. We're now nearly at a 1.5 seconds of fall off on the tires as we approach, I would estimate, about 10 laps until our green flag pit cycle. Mark Nutt with a huge charge down the front straightaway on Patrick Smith. Cannot get close enough to swing one down the inside into turn 1, but he's making his presence known, trying to force the 77 into a mistake, give him enough pressure to really, really have to think about how he's going to enter the next corner. Mark Nutt still maintaining just enough speed through the mid-corner to really put a threat on Patrick Smith's lead down to turn 1 once again. And into turn 1 we go once more with 3 laps till halfway. Mark Nutt right up to the back of the 77, but he seems to miss a step through the mid-corner, got a bit tight. Smith with an amazing exit, keeping the advantage once more as you can just see the Bignaco and Louviere machines fade off into the distance behind as they fall into the clutches of Bobby Frazier and soon Jeffrey Finguy. It's not going to be a fully fledged barrage of lap traffic, but it's going to be lap traffic nonetheless soon in the form of Elijah Innes in the 1 car. He's 6 seconds up the road from the leaders, and so eventually they're going to have to deal with him. Whether that's before or after the pit cycle is yet to be shown, but he's nearly a second off the pace comparatively to the leaders now. 7/10 between Patrick Smith and Innes that time by. We begin the 50th lap to end the first half of this event with Patrick Smith still with the advantage. But Bobby Frazier in the 96, I cannot stress this enough, is the fastest car on the racetrack and has been for the last 15 to 20 laps. The gap was 5.5 seconds when he broke free from DJ Curtis. It's 3.7 now. He's almost gained 2 seconds over the span of this run. And if they can maintain that advantage through the pit cycle, I would not rule him out battling for the lead come the end of lap 100. Smith now growing that gap back out as we begin the second half of the race here in Phakisa Freeway. Mark Nutt maybe trying to back off to cool his tires off for one last push before they come into the pits. I would say within the next 5 to 6 laps, we're going to see a barrage of green flag pit cycles that all 40 drivers are going to be needing to nail these stops with their crews intact. One thing I will say is that while they're catching Elijah Innes out front, Allison Figueroa took until now to fall to the back of the field, and they still have not pitted her. I really think this has been the wrong call from the Reid family racing team, and it is going to be a struggle for them to get back what they've lost from staying out this long with struggling fuel pressures. They are now within the same corner as Elijah Innes, not gaining almost a second every lap, but some laps, yes, they still are. 34-1 versus a 33-4. That's 0.7 of a second. And it's only 2.5 seconds until they catch him now. It was 6 seconds just a few laps ago. What will happen first? Them catching Innes or the pit cycle? I would say the pit cycle, but you just never know in a series as on your toes as WTSS, as Bobby Fraser has caught and passed Chris Louviere. He's caught and passed Alex Bignacco. He's into the 4th position, and the man who had an absolute rocket ship at the end of Iowa has found a rocket ship in the first half here at Phakisa Freeway, and if he can keep this pace up, he'll be on the tail of the leaders in about 20 to 30 laps time. Now as we head down the back straightaway once again, on the 54th lap of running, Smith has not been able to break away from Mark Nutt or Roberto Crown Jr. per se, but he's absolutely kept them at an arm's length to keep them behind and keep his race lead advantage. You can see Ryan Bolden has cracked the top 10 in that number 7 car, which would be a remarkable result from Embleton Honshu, a team that has had so much struggles this season to keep the pace up with the rest of the teams around them. One of the oldest existing teams on the grid. And with that sponsorship from Good Smile, I think they would have been hoping to impress in front of their new title sponsors. But nonetheless, a really strong performance going for him right now. Same with Mitchell Carter there as well in the 10th position. Two drivers that really need a top 10. Even though Carter had a stretch of top 10 finishes earlier in the season, it's been very up and down for that 69 crew. Patrick Smith on the exit of turn 2 with still just about the same gap he's had over Mark Nutt for a while. And finally, you can see Elijah Innes' number 1 car enter the picture in front of the leaders as they begin to approach to lap the number 1 car, as we have a possible battle for second place now, as Roberto Crown Jr. seems to be getting fed up with that 57, thinking that he can go faster, but the 57 bolts away down the front straightaway. The gap grows to nearly half a second for the lead, though, between Patrick Smith and Mark Nutt. Bobby Fraser's closed the gap. It's down to 3.5 seconds now. And soon enough, we're going to start to see that 96 car in the picture at the exit of turn number 2. It's not going to be right now, but it's going to be in a lap or two. We're going to start to see him in the background. That'll be when the leaders really got to start to notice him. Oh my goodness gracious! Into turn 1, Roberto Crown Jr.'s engine goes up in smoke. It's race over for the Fingai Saitomi driver. Your freshest new race winner in the WTSS is gone up in flames in turns 1 and 2. That car's not going to make it back to the pits, and the caution is going to come out very briefly here at Phakisa Freeway. Caution is out on this 1.5 mile racetrack mere seconds before we were scheduled to start the green flag pit cycle, and Patrick Smith will take the yellow as Roberto Crown Jr.'s car grinds to a halt on the apron of turns 1 and 2.
You just gotta know Elijah Innes is thanking his lucky stars that caution came out as soon as it did.
Absolutely perfect timing. They were in the middle of trying to pass him. They were going to pass him on the entrance to turn 1 there before that happened. The pit cycle comes, and as expected, every car in the field is going to be coming in here. I would have said that lap, some people could have chose to make their pit stops and believed it. It was that close to happening before that yellow. And you just have to feel for Roberto Crown Jr., who has been an absolute force to be reckoned with for the last 5 or 6 weeks of this season. Oh man, Cale Teskar Jr. came super close to the back of Sean Angel there. And another thing to note about Bobby Fraser having so much speed, he was last in qualifying. The 96 car was the slowest qualifier. And it's not the first time this season that he has been the slowest qualifier. As you see, Elijah Innes is in the pits, but I think he came in for an emergency service. He was starting to run out of fuel, I almost would have to imagine. Every car in the field thanking that this caution came out to stop them, as I just saw Chris Dodd leave the pits front and center ahead of the rest of the field. I almost have to wonder.
Is something wrong with the 8?
I almost have to wonder if that 8 car got shot past his stall. We'll have to go
Yeah,
back and look.
I think he might just not have come in.
I think the 8
to
missed his
avoid
pit
the
stall. I think
stop.
somebody either pushed him past it or he just missed his spot in the pits. Whoa.
Oh, well, Ryan got
with a
held up.
problem.
Looks like Hujian missed a shift getting up through the gears out of her stall. Patrick Smith leads out of the pits. I'm not sure what Logan Hill is doing up here either. There may have been a pit road collision that we just didn't see there. But the 11 car...
We'll have to see what the 11 and 8 do this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Dodd is technically the race leader here, but we'll have to go back and see if there was any sort of collisions in the pits. Elijah Innes will get waved around the pace car here. But Patrick Smith leads, technically leads, at Phakisa Freeway. Let's get back to the restart. And under caution, a suspension failure being reported on the 64 of Alex Constantine. And that 64 car, after an incredibly strong showing on a big speedway for that team, is going to have to come back to the pits to repair it and see if it's even fixable. Just as we're about to come to the restart here at Phakisa Freeway, and you just got to think absolute heartbreak for a team that has really struggled to find speed on the big speedways for the most part this year. They were showing it, especially when it counted, as they became a dark horse for the championship just last race coming into this weekend. And just like that, that run of momentum has been slammed to a dead stop with a suspension issue as Chris Dodd and Logan Hill came in for their pit stops late during the caution. But Alex Constantine does not get that luxury. He will not get a chance to leave the pits and rejoin the back of the field. He'll have to pit as the field comes to green here. It's going to be a restart on the 63rd of 100 laps here at Phakisa Freeway. Patrick Smith on the point. Bobby Frazier jumping up to second place in the pits, ahead of Mark Nutt, who has been so hammering on the back of that 77 all day. Jeffrey Finguy looking to avenge his rookie teammate in 4th, and Chris Louviere in 5th, with many other hungry names in the top 10 looking to make a charge at the front of the field in this second half shootout. With less than 40 to go, Patrick Smith takes the restart, and we're back underway on the 63rd lap with 38 laps to go. Immediate move from Jeffrey Finguy down the inside of Mark Nutt into turn 1.
It's a bad restart for the 57.
Car on the inside of Louviere. The two Louisiana natives battling it out.
Yes, they are. Meanwhile, though,
South,
Nutt gets the run on the exit at turn number 2. Finguy, though, deep charge into the inside of turn number 3, trying to make a move on the reigning champion, trying to make a double move on Bobby Frazier. Jeffrey Finguy with the run on the exit at turn number 4, side by side for second place as Patrick Smith tries to run. And it looks like a successful damage repair on the 64 of Alex Constantine. He'll come back out of the pits, a lap down from the field.
But still in the race.
Finguy is up to second place now with an absolutely monstrous restart. And you have to think he's eyeing up that number 1 position. He won at Homestead. Then his teammate Roberto Crown Jr. won at Darlington. Two big speedway races, one after another, and it was a 1-3. That was the team's best result ever as a whole team. And now, after Roberto Crown Jr. was battling top 3 all day at Phakisa Freeway before that engine failure, his teammate, Finguy, who was running top 10 all day, has now found the speed to charge to the front. He just turned his fastest lap of the race all day, which is 7th best of all cars, and he's now cracked the 31.92s to run the second fastest lap of the race, and is really hounding the back of Patrick Smith. Mitchell Carter has climbed up to 4th on the restart, but he's under pressure from Alex Bignacco now for that position as we head down the back straightaway, the 29, peeking inside, but Carter hangs on to it in the 69 with one of the best runs we've seen out of that car all season.
And just a terrible start for the 96 of Frazier.
And you almost have to wonder if that's the rest of the teams catching up with the setup changes that 96 must have had to charge him to the front of the field. And Chris Louviere is paying the price. He cannot find a way down to the bottom to get past that 96, and he's losing massive amounts of positions lap after lap. behind that 96
Finally be able to
car.
get down.
Mm.
But
You
you
think
have
Nivea's
to...
gonna be able to get? Nivea's gonna be able to get that?
3 wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4. The urgency to get past that 96 has never been higher, as Bobby Frazier is going to drop all the way outside of the top 10 as Jeffrey Finguy challenges for the lead on Patrick Smith.
You have to wonder if some of these teams made small or no changes and just didn't keep up with the track.
And look at the run on the exit of turn 2. Finguy peaks low. Can he get his second win in the last 6 races?
But of course, as you've seen, it's not too difficult to catch up to 77. The difficult part is passing him.
Exit of turn 4. Finguy unable to get alongside that time. Exit of
He
turn
has so
number
much
2.
He has so much mid-corner speed.
He's got the run again. Down the back straightaway. This time he's going to peek inside. This time he's going to go for the lead on Patrick Smith. And yet another driver challenges that 77 to the top point of the racetrack. Here on the 69th lap of 100. And the mid-corner speed carries the 92 to the lead. Jeffrey Finguy leads at Phakisa Freeway. 31 laps to go now for the 92 Chevrolet. And maybe that caution was just what the team needed to get the right adjustments in the right amount of time to put him in this position in the first place. Look at Cale Teskar Jr. in the 26 making a charge to the front as well. We haven't talked about him all day. Tristan Wilhoit qualified 39th. He was on the back row of the grid with Bobby Frazier. He's up into the top 10 now. Where is championship leader Ryan Reid? They did not get the adjustments right in the pit stops. He finds himself just barely in the top 30, 26th place to be precise. Exit of turn 2. Ryan Bolden's strong form today continues. He now is up into the 6th position, eyeing up Teskar up ahead. But meanwhile, Patrick Smith has not been one to go down without a fight today. He peeks back down the inside on the 92, back for the lead down the front straightaway, barely getting his nose underneath, right between the 92 and the apron, into one, charging the corner, side by side with Jeffrey Finguy for the top spot, and the corner exit speed has been so strong all day for Patrick Smith as he draws alongside. Heading down to turn number 3. Will he have the advantage on the entry to turn 3? He majorly sends it into the corner. Finguy's mid-corner speed has nothing for him, and Patrick Smith takes the lead back.
I could say the same thing about that 92's mid-corner speed, at least at the start of this run, but now he's got to deal with Mark Nutt.
Mark Nutt
didn't really have the best restart.
No, he did not.
Clawed back.
But he's been the one who's challenged Patrick Smith the most all day for this race lead, and it looks like that car does not have any give up left in it. It absolutely wants to get to the front, but Alex Bignacco is making his life difficult around the outside in the 29 car. It's been very difficult to pull off outside moves here today. He nearly does it, but can't quite get third.
Finguy was able to hold off Nutt on the outside. I guess that just shows how different those two cars are.
The outside lane has been a very good spot for defense. Patrick Smith has held the lead on the outside on numerous occasions today. You really have to catch that 77 off guard and with a good enough run to be able to take the lead from it. We've seen it all day, and we're going to continue to see it, I have a feeling.
He's continuing to try that outside on Mark Nutt.
Yeah, but say sayonara there on the exit of turn 4. Mark Nutt maintains third as Cale Teskar Jr. approaches the battle for the 3rd position. But Jeffrey Finguy is right back into this fight for the lead on the back of the 77. There's those exit speeds, though, from Smith we've seen all day. Makes sure to keep himself at an arm's length at all times to make sure that he can't just dive bomb one down the inside into the corner like he did earlier on. Louviere is cracked back into the top 10 after that restart, being stuck behind Bobby Frazier. Mitchell Carter had gotten up to 4th at one point on this restart. He's back to 13th, battling with Sean Angel, who's making some big points up on Ryan Reid currently. Oh, in trouble for Mitchell Mark! Championship contender! 4th in points coming in today's race with a tire failure on the 28. And the high tire dag and high abrasive track surface today has bitten a driver at last. And the absolute run of momentum for Mitchell Mark comes to a grinding halt as well. Another driver with title hopes finding trouble today on the mile-and-a-half speedway in Phakisa Freeway.
You know who else that held up? The points leader.
Ryan Reid had a huge
Yeah, that bunched a
to
lot of
avoid
cars
that.
up back there.
Everybody had to check up to miss that. It was a pandemonium that somehow didn't end in a multi-car accident. Guy peeking on Smith once again. Couldn't find it down the inside into 3, but he's not letting that 77 breathe. But Mark Nutt's not letting Guy breathe either. It's a multi-car battle for the lead with multiple layers to it. And somewhere, some way, any of these drivers could find themselves on top.
Whoa! That would have been a very ambitious move by Alex Pignaco.
Almost was. Mark immediately back out onto the racetrack with some fresh tires. But it's going to be too little too late. Without a caution, there's no chance of him getting it back on the lead lap. And frankly, that would already only put him at the back of the field anyways. Big lap for Patrick Smith there. Went from a 10th to nearly 4/10. Huge lap of response to keep the 92, again, like I said, at an arm's length to be able to control that gap. And you can see the chasm between where Mitchell Mark was running and the cars that all had to check up to avoid the slowing number 28 car. And speaking of slowing, that 96 car has not stopped falling down the order. Maybe I didn't give Ryan Reid's pit crew enough credit. That 90 car has climbed back up already from that checkup and is back to where he was at for the most part in 25th place, and now chasing this battle as Crasta fights Frazier on the run to turn 1 as that 96 continues to hemorrhage positions.
It's days like these where you're glad that you built up such a cushion.
And man, I hope this doesn't come off as rude, but you know you made a bad step when you're getting beaten in the turn by the 63.
That's how it's been this season. Patrick Smith under major pressure again. Guy has made another charge at him. He got side by side briefly on the exit of turn 4, but we said those corner exit speed from the 77 have been so strong all day. Guy has to change something to be able to match him. That time, it was pretty break even between the two of them, as Alex Pignaco finally clears the 3rd position from Mark Nutt, with Cale Teskar Jr. and Ryan Bolden trying to follow through. Exit of turn 4 once again. Guy has to be making a move into turn 1. This is the closest he's been for so long on the 77, but just not enough gumption to make that move down the inside into turn 1. I don't know if he's confident enough in 1 and 2. I think 3 and 4 is his comfort zone in terms of making moves.
He's trying to get that run in the mid corner that we saw earlier that he got.
Mark Nutt is falling. He's now under pressure from Ryan Bolden. Has the 57
and
burned his stuff up. Teskar to the bottom on Pignaco now. Cale Teskar Jr. came so close to a first career victory on numerous occasions in the opening 10 races of his rookie season. Since then, he's been anonymous. His championship hopes dwindled before the first half of the season was over after nearly leading the points. And now, down the back straightaway, he looks like he's got a car that's capable of challenging the lead duo, and that 26 car is moving fast, and the fastest we've seen him on an oval in quite some time. Look at Ryan Bolden. Speaking of fastest, we've seen him in quite some time. With the exception of Knoxville, that 7 car has been anonymous everywhere as Pignaco goes back down the inside of Teskar. Ryan Bolden really could use a pick-me-up. A top 5 this season would be an absolute win for them after the struggles they faced. Now, Chris Louviere inside on Tristan Wilhoit. And the leading Maverick car switches hands as Louviere's bad restart has been effectively erased. And now, a driver who thinks he's capable of chasing the race lead has broken free to go chase after the lead 5 as Jeffrey Guy looks down the inside back on Patrick Smith for the first time in numerous laps with 16 to go. And it looks like he's found a confident swing on that 77 to keep alongside on the exit of turn 2.
I felt like if he could get there, he had some mid-corner speed to hold on, and look at that.
Through 3 and 4 now, charging ahead of the 77. Guy returns to the point, and Teskar follows the 90 through 2. And now, he's going to have a new challenger for this race lead, and it could be the strongest one he's faced yet. Benyako now tries to follow through on his pseudo-teammate. Patrick Smith trying to limit the damage of that battle. And it looks like he's going to clear Benyako on the exit of turn 2 to maintain third at least. But here comes Chris Louviere. That 83 car looks wicked fast. Faster than every driver in the top 5, bar none. As the 83 approaches fast. Look at test cars run on the exit of turn 4 as we come to 14 to go. He's absolutely going to make a move into turn 1. Test car peaks low. Inside move into turn 1. Both of his closest calls at race victory have been thwarted by race strategy, but maybe a great adjustment call in the pits might be what wins in this race at Phakisa Freeway to score a first career victory. Benyako goes back low on Patrick Smith. Finguy maintains the lead by chopping Dak down to the bottom as Louviere catches the back of Ryan Bolden now. Huge battle down the front straightaway. Patrick Smith's got no help. He's got no draft. Benyako and Bolton used that to their advantages to try and clear the 77 on the entry to turn 1 and do so. Benyako's through. Bolden's trying to follow, but look at the exit speed from the 77 once again. Back round the outside of the 29. And the more they fight, the less Finguy has to worry about anybody else other than Cale Teskar Jr. Look at Louviere and Smith, though, around the outside of 3 and 4 now. Using that outside lane to its fullest advantage. And look at Louviere trying to peek to the bottom.
The moment the 83 got to the back end of the 77, the outside started moving.
Yes, that 83 is extremely strong. Here comes Teskar back for the lead on Jeffrey Finguy. Inside move into 3 and 4. Draws alongside. Finds the mid-corner speed to stay alongside on the exit. Door to door, fender to fender, nose to nose, down the front straightaway. It's a dead heat, but give the lead to Teskar at start finish. Into 1 and 2 we go. Teskar keeping it alongside, not letting Finguy get the advantage on the outside. Into 3 and 4. Surely this is where Teskar can put his mark down on the lead. And he does! Cale Teskar Jr. to the lead, coming to 10 laps to go at Phakisa Freeway. Is there enough time for Louviere to get there? He's broken free from Bolden at last. But now Patrick Smith and Benyako may fight ahead of him. And can Finguy form a responsive move to the back of that 26 now? Off of turn number 2 we go once more. As you can see, the entire top 11 in a line. Mark Nutt's fallen all the way to the back of this train, but he's still there in the picture. Finguy with the run on the exit of turn 4. Can't carry it anywhere with him, though. Teskar maintains the lead as he hugs that gap between the banked front straightaway and the flat apron. Through 1 and 2. Once more. 9 laps to go. Will we see any really urgent moves made at any point in this top 5? Smith wanted to, but he wasn't close enough on Benyako. Louviere is begging these guys to get a move on. He knows he has a car that can challenge for the lead. Jake Stevens in the 18 coming on strong at the end. He challenges Will Hoyt for the 8th spot back there. But all the focus is on out front. Finguy still looks extremely strong in the mid-corner. But it's the question of can he get it back enough to make a challenge for the lead on Teskar. Here comes Smith on Benyako. Is it enough of a run to get alongside into turn 3? I don't believe so. Has Louviere possibly burned his stuff up now? He's not making the inroads I thought he would be at this point in the run. And look at Teskar pulling a bit of a gap on Finguy. Is this going to be what Benyako needs to make a challenge for the win?
Top 4 could also be that
Inside!
strong.
Into 1. Can Benyako make quick work of the 92 to try and go after the lead? Not quite. That allows Louviere the opening and the opportunity to make a move on Patrick Smith. Multiple side-by-sides into turn 3, but only one lasts. Louviere trying to keep it there, but Smith has been so strong on that exit corner, and he keeps it from the 83 for the time being, but all the meanwhile, Cale Teskar Jr. has opened up a nearly half a second lead with 6 laps to go. Ryan Reid has made no more forward progress. 22nd seems to be his ceiling, maybe 20th if he can get up there. So all of these drivers are battling for everything they've got, knowing the championship leader is finishing outside the top 20 at a high likeliness. Finguy has a run on Teskar, but he's being heavily challenged by Alex Bignacco. Louviere is inside of Patrick Smith into turn 1, and the 77's hopes of victory for the first time this season are fading away fast. Louviere clears 4th place with just 5 laps to go. Is there anything left for Finguy and Bignacco to try and challenge Teskar? Bignacco back down the inside of the 92 as they continue to try and chase Teskar, but it might be too late if they keep fighting. Louviere clears finally. Bolden follows him. Will the 7 car have anything to say about it? Could he get his first top 5 of the season? Inside into 1. Louviere digs deep on the outside, keeps it ahead of the 7. Now sets his sights fully out in front of him. And Ryan Reid has an oil leak! The 90 car with a mechanical failure! Is it bad enough that they have to pit? Will the engine not make it the last 4 laps of this race? Can Roush Racing Enterprises tell him to just hang it out and hope? Into 3 and 4, it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Reid, clearing James Gibson for 21st, still has that spark in him to try and crack the top 20. Jeffrey Finguy's out of fuel! Jeffrey Finguy's out of fuel in the 92! I don't believe what I'm seeing! Out of fuel goes the 92 at the end! Scott Roush and Elijah Innes follow into the pits! It's pandemonium at the end here at Phakisa Freeway! Teams miscalculating the fuel at the end of the race! Down the front straightaway, Teskar leads with 2 to go, but is there anything left? Can Ryan Bolden score a first victory in nearly 4 seasons? Has Ryan Reid been bailed out once again? Finguy rejoins the racetrack. Bolden's trying to come down to the finish line, but he's out! He's out! Bolden and Stevens can't make it! Teskar takes the white flag! It'll be 1 lap to go for the 26. Through 1 and 2 for the last time. Is he on fumes? Does he have anything left? Exit of turn 2 for the final time. Cale Teskar Jr. on fumes comes off of turn number 4 and survives the mid-strategy chaos in the end of the race to score his first career victory at Phakisa Freeway. Eugene DeMax makes it to the finish. Will Hoyt does as well. Who comes home in 4th? It's Jake Stavinaugh, Kyle Bisceglia, William Duncan, and Ryan Reid didn't make it. He didn't make it to the white flag. Absolute pandemonium at the end at Phakisa Freeway, and no championship contender was safe. Not a single one of them made it to the end, and so we exit tonight basically breaking even between all of the contenders, with Cale Teskar Jr., who was already the leader, making it to the end on fuel by the skin of his teeth, and the checkered flag falls for the first time in his career, as Jake Stevens blew a tire coming to the finish and did not round the last lap after pitting coming to the white flag. Cale Teskar Jr. the winner, with Eugene DeMax, Tristan Wilhoit, Jake Stavinaugh, and Kyle Bisceglia the top 5. William Duncan, Brandon Crasta, Sebastian Van Dalen, James Gibson, and Ray Tockett at the top 10. Some names we literally didn't mention for the entire 100 laps. Hill, Tamura, Dodd, Vita Basa, and Ji Yon, your top 15. The rest of the running order is as follows, with only 17 drivers making it on fuel to the end. Jeffrey Finguy, the first one to drop out at the end. He comes home in 20th. 1 lap down, with your highest finishing driver who was out of fuel being Ryan Bolden in 18th place. The three DNFs being Jake Stevens, Alex Constantine, and Roberto Crown Jr., with Ryan Reid only managing 25th place in the end, and not the points that he would have wanted, but not the points they had ended up being for the rest of the drivers chasing him for this title. As Cale Teskar Jr. makes it to the end, regardless of fuel, it looked like he had it won. Congratulations to Cale Teskar Jr., your winner here at Phakisa Freeway. We'll see you next race for the 23rd round of WTSS Season 7 at the Monza circuit in Italy for the first time in the series history.